Hey guys, it's Michael. This isn't a movie review. This isn't me talking about sports. This is me being serious. I wanted to talk about Chester Bennington. His music has influenced me a lot in my younger days. I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, you're 34. You're still young." I was like, "No, no, no. I mean, like high school and 20s." First of all, I have done videos for Chris Cornell. I've done them for Prince, George Michael. I would have done one for Scott Weiland, but that was before I started filming videos. So I was gonna do this on Thursday, but my phone died. Then yesterday I just worked straight through, and then now today, since I got some free time and it's 94 degrees, I'm in my garage drinking ice water. Just figured, hey, you ain't doing nothing, why not? I can't say enough good things about Chester Bennington. He was a really good artist. He was great. He had a great voice. Very talented young man. He had done not just music. He was in other side projects. He was in Dead by Sunrise, this little indie project he had done in 2009. I remember seeing this the album on Hot Topic. There was a music video he did. He was an artist who went to different who would help different side projects. He was in Camp Freddy with Scott Weiland. They performed on an award show on Spike. He did a song with Z Trip, which I cannot remember for the life of me. And he actually did little cameos in movies, and I think he did a TV show. Don't hold me to that, but I know he did Saturday Night Live. He was in Crank 1. He was in Crank 2. He had a little cameo with Jason Statham, the young guy with the tattoos on his arm and the skinny jeans that Jason Statham starts rubbing up against, and he's like, "Dude, what the fuck, man?" I just thought that was funny. And then, of course, I think one of his biggest moments was he was in Saw 7 or Saw the Final Chapter. He was one of Jigsaw's victims, and it's kind of like Morden right now, just to talk about the fact that he was on a horror movie playing a guy who gets killed due to the recent events. But I mean, that was like one of the big draws about the movie. Besides, it's the final Saw movie, even though they lied. Kelly always came back. The fact that he was a fan of the Saw franchise, and when he talked to the producers, asked him, he's like, "Yeah." So he plays a character named Evan, who wakes up groggy in one of Jigsaw's traps. Jigsaw says, "Hello, Evan. You're used to judging people on the skin of their color." So basically, he was a skinhead or a neo-Nazi. And he's told that he has 30 seconds to deactivate this switch on his car. Otherwise, his friend is going to get his jaw ripped out and his arms ripped off. His girlfriend's head is going to get squished because she's underneath this car. And there's his buddy who's hogtied in front of a screen door or a garage door that the car is in front of. The car is on an automatic. The engine is revving, and while this is happening, Chester's character Evan is shirtless with epoxy glued to his back with all these tattoos. And when he's trying to move his back, it rips his skin off, like really, really bad. I mean, you can tell it's fake skin, but the way Chester's just selling the hell out of this scene, it's just him screaming really bad, like ah, ah. You think, damn. Is he going to start busting out, Bleed It Out or the song Faint? But he just does everything he can. To make a long story short, he doesn't make it. Everybody dies, and he dies at the end. So, But this is before, this happened. So, somebody said, "Hey, we need you to be gutted by Freddy Krueger." I was like, "Hey, I'm a fan. Why not?" But instead of the claws, can you have the Wolverine claws? Like, all right, cool, thanks. So there was that. Like I said, to me, if we're going to talk about Linkin Park and Chester Bennington, we got to go all the way back to the year 2000. I remember first hearing about these guys at the beginning of my senior year because they were an indie band, and then the radio station here at the time, Quad 106.5, was starting to play like all these like local music, because you had Limp Bizkit, and then you had Limp Bizkit, and you had Korn and Kid Rock, and then you would have these newer bands coming out, like you would have Paraman 5000, you would have Papa Roach from Sacramento, and then Linkin Park all the way from L.A. And all these new bands are coming out, because the thing is, while Kid Rock was releasing a new album, well, technically only did one song and a bunch of his old B-sides, Korn was doing their thing, still, kicking butt with issues. And then Limp Bizkit, we're still waiting for a Chocolate Starfish to come out. these guys were coming out with newer songs, and they were doing their, doing their thing. And then Stained was coming out. And then at the time, a little-known Canadian band known as Nickelback was coming out. Let's not talk about them. And then Slipknot. So we had all these local bands, well, not local bands, all these, rap metal bands coming out and just, trying to get their piece of the music pie. Since, Limp Bizkit's new album wasn't coming out. And I remember hearing, it was funny, my high school promoted, like they would get these banners from like these certain musical groups. And Linkin Park was one that they were promoting. And then after that, One Step Closer, it came out, and it was actually a pretty catchy song. And then after that, WWE, like MTV, WWE, WWF SmackDown at the time, they were promoting like Linkin Park. Check out their new self-titled, I don't know, I can't remember a self-title, but their debut album featuring the hit song One Step Closer. Everything you say to me takes me one step closer to the edge, and I'm about to break. I need a little brim to break. And Chester had the blonde, spiky hair. And I just remember I went to go see Dracula 2000. There was nothing else I wanted to see, and Castaway wasn't playing at this theater. Anyways, I go see this movie. The movie ends, and the next dun 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 dun. And then next thing I was like, wait a minute, that's Linkin Park. And so I thought it was like cool they used that song as the ending theme song to that movie. The movie kind of sucked, and even though it did introduce us to Gerard Butler, and you had a nice supporting role from Johnny Lee Miller, who went on to play Sherlock in Elementary, there was, really had nothing, there was really barely anything decent about that movie, except for the Christopher Plummer's like golden 6-shooter gun that they usually kill vampires with. Everything else was like, meh. So then after that, they released Crawling in my skin, these days it will not heal, which they ended up using on an MTV music video for Hollow Man, Kevin Bacon, at the MTV Movie Awards, which I thought was cool. And then later, they would play In the End. Now, In the End, technically, is Linkin Park's biggest song. It was like their biggest #1 seller. I personally, from the bottom of my heart, I know everybody's going to hate me for this, I fucking hate that song. I'm sorry, it's just too depressing. I mean, I know it's, these guys are playing the hearts out. That's like the one Linkin Park song I could care less about. And I have a playlist. That song is not on that playlist because it's my playlist. I mean, I know everybody else loves that song, but to me, it's just too damn depressing of a song, especially now it's Chester. So they ended up doing another album called Reanimation, which basically was a couple of their songs that were just remixed. One of their songs that got re-released and remixed was a song called Points of Authority, which I actually thought was pretty badass. The original version I thought was nice, and I remember they played it in Little Nicky, and they used it for the TV spot for this Chris O'Donnell action movie for Vertical Limit. But I just remember the music video was badass. It was CGI. Chester's head was CGI imprinted, and the beat was catchy. The whole, you like to think of something more. You like to do something else and get what you deserve. And they did that, and they did a song with the Executioners called It's Going Down. I was like, it's weak. So then after that, they decided to release a new album in 2003 called Meteora. And that had Somewhere I Belong, which I thought was decent. And then after that, they did this party rock anthem called Faint. Now, that song was badass. The whole beats, the whole meow, wow, 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 meow, meow, wow, 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 just this awesome, like music that pumps you up. Like if you heard that song at a concert, you could better believe there's going to be a fucking mosh pit. Sorry, but it's true. So that song came out, and I was like 20 years old. So I was a young man, and it was just like this music was like perfect for a young guy with me, just after high school, trying to get rid of my teenage angst, feeling like I'm young. Let's do this. The world's mine. So there was that, and then they would. So they did that song, and then they did a couple other ones too. There was Faint, and then there was later on they did Breaking the Habit, which was this very nice avant-garde song. It was just fantastic. And then they did another slow song called Numb. And Numb was Numb was a big hit. It told a ghost story. And then after that, they did a couple other songs that were released. One for the movie SWAT, which I cannot remember. And then they did a song called Sessions for The Matrix Reloaded. Now, that song was just all instrumental. There was no singing. It was just all instrumental. And then at that time, they decided to do a Live in Texas album where they basically just did everything live. And it was just this big concert. And then that was in 2004. And then after that, they would go on a concert. And I remember when they were coming to Indianapolis when I was living that time, tickets sold out like madness, hotcakes. And then in 2004, they did a special thing with Jay-Z Linkin Park Collision Course. Now that is one of the best mashup albums I've ever heard in my life. I don't care what anyone says. They had like some songs like Izzo In The End together. That's like the only time I can actually like In The End, when Jay-Z was helping them sing it. They did a couple other songs, but the one song everybody takes away from that album is Numb Encore, and they took like Jay-Z's song Encore and mashed it with the Linkin Park song Numb, and they were able to blend it. You know, just instead of depressing, with just electric beats, and instead of hearing the Numb lyrics, you would hear the Encore lyrics, the whole dun 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 dun. Can I get an encore? Do you want more? Cooking while with a Brooklyn boy. So one last time, people make some noise. And then Chester would come in. Now what the hell are you waiting for? After me, there should be no more. So for one last time, people make some noise. And then Jay-Z would just start rapping. Who do you know fresher than Ho? Riddle me that. And then after that, after Jay-Z was done rapping the hell out of it, Chester would come in. It's time to be what you want me to be. And then that would be it. And then, of course, at the end, they would do like the chorus of Numb at the very end, and the whole, Jay-Z would come in at the very end. I mean, after Chester's part, the whole "I become so numb." So for one last time, people make some noise. One last time, people make some noise. And then that was it. And the song was so popular, it was used on TV shows, and it was also used in the trailer for Miami Vice, the 2006 Jamie Foxx Colin Farrell reboot. And then, of course, it was also used in the movie itself. And I remember I walked into the movie, and I was like, crap, I'm late. Nope. I actually made it on time. And then the movie starts off, the theatrical version starts off with them in the nightclub and them playing that song. I was like, yeah, that's awesome. Of course, the director's cut, they changed it, new opening, but they still kept the song and the scene in, thank God. And then after that, a year later, we finally got Minutes to Midnight, which I think was one of their best albums ever. They just came out, all original stuff. Chester had surgery on his larynx, and they took their time. They didn't want to do the rap metal thing. They wanted to do something all new. And then they did their first song, What I've Done, which was a huge hit. And then, of course, they used it for Transformers, and then all these other songs came up. But my favorite song on the album was Leave Out All the Rest, because it was kind of personal to me. It was nice. It was a nice little slow song. I remember in 2008 when I was leaving Indianapolis for California, one of the last songs the radio station there played, X103, before they became Alt 103, was that song Leave Out All the Rest, which got a lot of airplay. I just remember this was one of the first times they played it. I'm driving with my friends, Sarah Flasco, to the airport, and they just started playing that song, and literally when the song ended, I arrived right on the airport terminal, and I just thought, to me, that song will always be part of my life. It wasn't a dark time, it was like a happy time for me. I got to, say goodbye to my friends, and I started a new life here in California. And then that song would be so popular, people would use it on YouTube videos. CSI used it for an episode called Leave Out All the Rest, which is named after the song. And then Twilight got their hands on it, and now all the teeny asshole boppers think, oh, that song's from Twilight. Screw you, man. That song's better than Twilight. And then, of course, over the years, I kind of stopped listening to Linkin Park. I think I outgrew them, or just the music wasn't all that great. But they would always do songs from the Transformers. There was New Divide, and then Iridescent, which I actually thought was classy. And then by the time the fourth movie came out, they were replaced by Imagine Dragons, unfortunately. I don't know what his personal demons were. I'm not going to get into it, but, for all I could say is I hope, whatever. I hope his family's taken care of, and I hope that maybe he found some peace. But to me, I'm grateful for the music that he did, and, he was the music, his music was basically my 20s, and now that I'm going to be 35, it's like, I always have those memories. So Thank you, guys. Bye.